So I don't know. I got an automatic message saying that some people will be removed from the meeting. I don't know why. So maybe because of this weak signal, that could be the reason. So okay, just tell me when I'm not audible properly or when I'm not visible properly. Just tell me, okay?
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So last time in the last class, Lakshmi says, I can hear you, but I can't see you. Oh, why is Lakshmi not able to see me? Why?
No,
But others are able to see me, isn't it? Or
Yes, sir.
everybody else is able to see me, but Lakshmi says he is not able to see me. That means your network is weak, Lakshmi. Kali, your network is poor. Okay. I don't know what kind of internet you are subscribing, but obviously, no, in all these online classes, you have to have a good internet connection and good data. Okay. Uh, and you see, I mean, I am taking just one class so far, but you have to attend all other classes also, other teachers' classes. Okay. And I'm subscribing about now 2 GB data from my Geo, then or 2 GB data from my mobile, and plus the internet of the university. Although internet of the university sometimes is not accessible to my room, but I have got the internet from my Geo and I have got internet from my mobile phone. But you will have to have even more than that only. So I don't know what kind of data, how much data you are subscribing. So you have to have a good internet subscription. Okay. As long as you have to attend the online classes. Okay. And once you come to the university, then of course you will get the advantage of getting the internet from the university network also. All right. So Lakshmi. So all of you have to subscribe good amount of internet data. All right. So I was discussing about the thickness, geopotential thickness, the hypsometric equation. Is this slide visible to you?
Yes, sir.
Sorry, something
Yes.
I just messed up. Okay. All right. Let me also put in the slideshow mode. Okay. So now you know how to calculate the thickness between two isobaric levels, right? And that thickness between two isobaric levels can be obtained from this equation. Okay, Z2 minus Z1, where Z2 and Z1 are the geopotential heights between the two pressure levels P1 and P2. Okay, and as you know, H is the scale height. All right, and all the other symbols already you know the meaning of that. RD stands for gas constant for the dry air. TB stands for the virtual temperature. This is the mean virtual temperature between the two layers P1 and P2. G0 is the acceleration due to gravity, some reference value or a mean value, log of P1 by P2. All right. So this is the thickness between two geopotential levels. Okay. And last time we discussed that this thickness is very important. Okay. Because through this we can interpret whether the pressure is going to be high at a place or pressure is going to be low at a place. Okay. When the thickness is high, last time I had explained this, when the thickness between two pressure levels is high, what does that mean? This diagram also I had discussed earlier last time. When the thickness
Temperature will be warmer.
yes, temperature will be warmer, exactly. So when the temperature is warmer at a place, what will that mean? That means
Pressure is decreasing.
pressure will decrease because of the strong heating. Okay, pressure will decrease. All right, and when the temperature is cool, that means when the thickness is low, that means temperature is cool and the pressure will be high. Okay, and therefore generally in the winter season you will notice that the surface pressure is higher than the summer season. Okay, also of course that depends on again if there is no other atmospheric system passing by. For example, if there is a cyclone passing by, then obviously cyclone will have its own effect. But otherwise, on a clear, calm day, the typical pressure on the surface during the winter season can be higher than the summer season. Okay, and that is also the reason why during the summer season, lands get heated, and then we get a low pressure area over the land, and then we have the monsoons because of that. All right. So these are the reasons for that. Okay. Also, this pressure at the surface or the ground will depend upon the elevation of the ground, right? The pressure at the ground will also depend upon the elevation of the ground. For example, if you go to a hill station, the hill station has a elevation, right? Because the mountain has a height. So on a hill station, the pressure will be less compared to the sea level, right? Pressure on a hill station will be less compared to the sea level, right? For example, if you go to Simla, or if you go to Kodaikanal, or if you go to Ooty, no, wherever, all the hill stations, because of the elevation of the hill station, the pressure over there is less. So when you are analyzing the surface pressure, you plot the surface pressure on a chart, on a map of India. Okay, you plot the observed surface pressure on a map of India. Every day, these observations are taken. You may be knowing that, right? For example, IMD, all the stations of IMD, all the automatic weather stations or manual stations of IMD take these observations at every synoptic hour. Every synoptic hour. You know synoptic hour, right? You know the synoptic hour?
Yes, sir.
Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, what is the synoptic hour?
5:30 to 5:30.
Yeah, 5:30 is, I mean, one of the synoptic hours.
5:30 in morning and another reading is 5:30 in the evening.
Yeah, that is the time when we launch the radiation balloon. Okay, that is the time when we launch the radiation balloon. But the synoptic hours are like 00 GMT, then after that 03 GMT, then 06 GMT, every 3 hourly. Okay, 0, 03, 06, 09, then 12, then 15, then 18, and then 24, 21, and then 24. So round the clock, every 3 hourly, data is collected. All the atmospheric data is collected round the clock every 3 hourly by all the meteorological stations around the world, throughout the world, in all the countries. Okay, the meteorological data at the surface is collected every 3 hourly, say 00 GMT, 03 GMT, and so on, round the clock. And these are called the synoptic hours. So there are regular intervals in time, 03, 06, 09, 12, and so on. But there can be also more frequent observation. There can be hourly observations also. For example, many automatic stations, automatic weather stations, they are set in such a way that it records the observation at every 1 hour interval. Okay. The automatic weather stations are set in such a way that they record the observations every 1 hour interval. Okay. But there are even more frequent observations also. Have you heard about that? There are more frequent observations also. For example, at the airport, at every airport, there is an observation called METAR. There is an observation called METAR, METAR, METAR. Okay. And this METAR stands for Meteorological Aerodrome Report. It stands for Meteorological Aerodrome Report. And it consists of the meteorological observations at the airport, and which contains the observations of the pressure, the observations of the temperature, the observations of the humidity, the observations of the wind direction, and the wind speed. Okay, and these are very, very important for all the pilots, aircrafts. Okay, when they are landing at the airport or when the aircraft is taking off from the airport, all these observations are very, very important. And this METAR is taken every half an hour. every half an hourly the METAR observations are collected. Okay, and there are observations, instruments which are collecting observations even more frequently than 1 hour or half an hour. For example, the radars, the Doppler radars that we have in India, all those Doppler radars take a scan of the entire sky at every 10 minutes interval. Every 10 minutes, the sky is scanned by the Doppler radars. So, depending upon the type of instruments, type of observatory, type of the system, the observations are taken very, very frequently. Okay. So, why I was telling you all these things is because when you are at a hill station, then the surface pressure at the hill station will be less compared to the mean sea level. So if you plot all the surface observations of the pressure on a map of India at all those stations, there are more than 500, 600 stations all over India. Okay, all over India, there are more than 500, 600 stations of surface observatories. Okay, upper air, that means reduction balloon. I told you last time how many? Approximately, can somebody say how many reduction stations all over India?
40.
Yeah, approximately 40, because they are costly, right? And they are taken only twice a day. Whereas all these surface observations, there are many, about 500 to 600 observatories, including the automatic weather stations and the regular manual synoptic observatories. So if you plot all the observations at the surface on a map of India, you can see immediately where there is a low pressure, where there is a high pressure in India. Okay. But if you plot the surface pressure, what you will see is that where there is a hill, mountain, or a hill station, the surface pressure is automatically low there because of the elevation. But then you cannot conclude that there is a low pressure area over there or there is a low pressure system over there, right? Because this is very important to know on the map where there is a low pressure system, where there is a high pressure system, because based upon that you will know how the systems will move. Okay, how the wind direction will be there, how the wind speed will be there. As you know that winds blow from high pressure to low pressure area, right? So depending upon the distribution of the surface pressure, accordingly the winds will be there, wind pattern will be there accordingly, right? And have you studied about the Bias-Ballot's law? Bias-Ballot's law. Have you studied about that? Heard about that?
No, sir.
No,
Not
sir.
yet. I see. Okay, it's a very simple law. Bias-Ballot's law states that there is always a low pressure area on the left hand side of the wind direction. On the left hand side of the wind direction, there is a low pressure area. That means if you have a northerly wind means
Blowing
northerly
from
wind.
northern side. Blowing from north.
Yes, exactly. If there is a northerly wind, that means the wind is blowing from the north. So on the left hand side of that means towards the east, the pressure will be low. And towards the right, the pressure will be high. That is the Bias-Ballot's law. It states that on the left side of the wind direction, the pressure is low, and on the right side, the pressure is high in the northern hemisphere. Okay, this is in the northern hemisphere, but in the southern hemisphere, it is just the opposite, reverse. Okay, in the southern hemisphere, the pressure is low on the right side of the wind direction and high on the left side of the wind direction. It's just opposite of the northern hemisphere. Okay, very simple law, but very important, because when you are trying to analyze the charts, okay, the weather maps, by plotting the surface pressure at all the stations over India, say more than 500, 600 stations. Then you will draw the isobars, for example. Isobar, that means the lines of equal pressure area. You are drawing the isobars, and also the plot the wind speed and plot the wind direction at all the stations. You will notice that toward the left of the wind direction, the pressure is low, and toward the right of the wind direction, the pressure is high. That is called the Biot-Savart's law. Okay. So I was saying that on the hill stations, because of the elevation of the hill, pressure will be less. So does it mean that there is a low pressure area over there? Does that mean? It doesn't mean, because hill stations themselves have low pressure. So how to avoid this confusion that whether there is a low pressure area or there is a high pressure area? To avoid this confusion, we always have to reduce the surface pressure to the mean sea level value. We have to reduce or change or convert. We have to convert the pressure or surface pressure to the mean sea level value. And if you convert the pressure to the mean sea level value, then there will be no confusion. Because whether there is a mountain, whether there is a hill station, whether there is a plain area, if the pressure is converted, surface pressure is converted to the mean sea level, that means the pressure that you see on the chart has got the same scale. And if there is a low pressure, then you will clearly know that there is a low pressure area. And if there is high pressure, then you will clearly know that there is a high pressure area. And from there, you can draw the conclusion that how will be the winds, how will be the wind speeds, and so on. Okay. So these are the simple laws. So that means the pressure observed over a mountain or a topography or a hill station has to be converted to the mean sea level. Okay, mean sea level. And that you do based upon simple equations like this equation that you are seeing, the hypsometric equation and the other equations. So now let us see, how do we reduce the pressure to the sea level? Okay, how do we reduce the pressure at the sea level? Because this is important. All the observations which are reported from all over India, whether it is a hill station or a plain station, all the surface pressures have to be converted to the mean sea level pressure. Then only you will know that is whether there is a high pressure or there is a low pressure. Okay, so we have to reduce. So in mountainous region, the difference in surface pressure from one observing station to another is largely due to the differences in the elevation. Okay. To isolate that part of the pressure field that is due to the passage of a weather system, it is necessary to reduce the pressure to a common reference level. For this purpose, the sea level pressure is normally used. Okay, as I was telling you. Let us denote the subscripts G and 0 to the ground and at the height Z is equal to 0. Okay, let us denote this subscript. Then for the layer between the Earth's surface and the sea level, the hypsometric equation that we saw just now in the previous slide assumes the form Zg is equal to h bar times log of P0 by Pg. Okay. So where Zg is the height of the ground, Zg indicates the height of the ground. So that means if you are on a hilltop or on a hill station or on the top of a mountain, then Zg will indicate the height of the illustration, elevation of the illustration or the mountain. And that is equal to the mean scale height, which is approximately say 8,000 meters, log of P0 divided by Pg, where P0 is the pressure at Z is equal to 0, and Z is equal to 0 is sea level, right? We always consider sea level to be the reference level, right? So Z is equal to 0, that means this is sea level, right? So the pressure at the sea level is P0, and Pg is the pressure at the ground, say at the hill station, where the height is Zg. Okay, and this is coming from the hypsometric equation that you saw in the previous slide. All right, which can be solved to obtain the sea level pressure. From this equation, you can get the sea level pressure, that is P naught, by this expression. P0 is equal to Pg times e to the power Zg divided by h bar. Okay, this is how you reduce the pressure at the mean sea level, and this is equal to P0 times exp. Substitute the value of h bar, the scale height that you studied in the previous classes, the scale height, which is given by this one, RdTV divided by G0. Okay, this is the scale height. Substitute the value of the scale height that you studied in the previous classes. Now, by this formula, Rd is the gas constant for the dry air, Tv is the virtual temperature, and G0 is the mean acceleration due to gravity. Okay, so this is the pressure, the mean sea level pressure, and you can calculate that at any height Zg, where Zg is the height of the mountain or station, okay, or hill station or whatever. So normally, as you know, that most of the places are not exactly at the sea level, isn't it? There is always some elevation. Even if there is no mountain, for example, is there any mountain about Chennai? Is there any mountain about Chennai? Yes or no?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No nearby mountain, right? And so also in Delhi, there is no mountain in Delhi. But it doesn't mean that Delhi's elevation is same as the sea level. Delhi's elevation is not same as the sea level. It is always above the sea level, right? A few meters, maybe something 70, 80 meters above the sea level. Okay, so most of the places have always some elevation as compared to the sea level. And therefore, all the observations, whether it is collected over Chennai, or whether it is collected over Delhi, whether it is collected over Kolkata, wherever, the surface pressure which are absorbed at all those stations have to be converted to the mean sea level in order to standardize them or make them uniform for comparison. Okay, then only you will know that whether there is a low pressure over Calcutta, or whether there is a low pressure over Delhi, or whether there is a low pressure over Chennai. Then only you will know. Okay, but otherwise it will be just affected by the elevation of that station. All right. So let's see. This is equation number 6. So if Zg is small in this equation, okay, the scale height h can be evaluated from the ground temperature. Also, if Zg divided by h bar is very, very small, that is smaller than 1, and which is true also most of the time, because what is the h bar, value of h bar? What is the value of h bar typically?
7.5 kilometers.
Yeah, approximately 7 to 8 kilometers, let us say. Right? Let's say 8 kilometers, 8,000 meters. Right? And 8,000 meters is generally the height of the 8,000 meters is the height of the almost equal to the Mount Everest. Isn't it? What is the height of the Mount Everest? You know that. Isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So the scale height is almost equal to the height of the Mount Everest. So normally all the stations, say in the country, are definitely smaller. The elevation of all the stations in the country are definitely smaller than the height of the Mount Everest. So Zg divided by h bar is certainly much smaller than 1, isn't it? So in that case, the exponential in this equation, can be approximated as 1 plus Zg divided by h bar. This exponential can be approximated to 1 plus Zg divided by h bar, in which case this equation becomes P0 minus Pg approximately equal to Pg times Zg divided by h bar, and which is approximately equal to Pg times G naught divided by Rd times Zg divided by Tv bar. So this is how you reduce the pressure at the mean sea level, at the station. Okay, where P0 is the pressure at the mean sea level, because this is the pressure at the Z is equal to 0, and which is the mean sea level. Okay, sea level. And this is the PG, the pressure at the ground. This is the surface pressure reported at the ground. So that means the barometer, you observe the pressure by which instrument? What is the instrument for measuring the pressure?
Barometer.
Barometer, right. So the barometric observation, which is taken at the hill station, is giving you PG, the pressure at the ground. That means wherever it is. So this pressure you have, and all these things also you have, right? Because you know G0, you know Zg, elevation of the illustration, Rd also you know, and the virtual temperature, mean virtual temperature. So from this you can calculate the or reduce the pressure at the mean sea level. Okay, this is question number 7. So because P0, that means pressure at the ground, generally we approximate it to be equal to 1000 millibar. Generally, we approximate the pressure at the ground to be equal to 1000 millibar. But this is approximation. This is not true for the mountains or the hill stations. Okay, it can be very less at the hill station, and it can be high over the plain areas. Like you know that typically the surface pressure is about 1013 millibar or hectopascal, 1013 hectopascal. That is the typical surface pressure. So it depends on place to place, time to time. Okay, it can be more than that also. For example, if you go to, say, typically round the year, have you heard about the Madagascar? Have you heard about the Madagascar island?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Exactly. The Madagascar island, there is a kind of a continuous high pressure area all the time. Most of the time of the year, over the Madagascar area, there is a high pressure. And that is one of the important factors responsible for diverting the winds toward the India landmass, especially during the monsoon season. You will study those things later on in some other subjects, okay, about the details of the monsoon, etc. But just for information, for now, you may know that the surface pressure at the Madagascar is generally very high, and its value is about approximately 1020 millibar. 1020 millibar, sometimes even more than that. Okay, sometimes it can be even more than that. 1020 millibar pressure at the surface, right? Typically, we say that 1013 millibar is the 1 atmosphere standard unit of the pressure, 1 atmosphere, which is 1013 millibar. Okay, but in some places it can be more than that, and in some other places, like if it is an elevated region, then it can be less than that. Say, for example, if you go to, say, Kathmandu, Nepal, the height of the Kathmandu is typically about 1.5 kilometer above the mean sea level. The height of Kathmandu in Nepal is typically about 1.5 kilometer above the mean sea level. So, you know, what is the typical surface pressure in Kathmandu? The typical surface pressure in Kathmandu, or for that matter, any other place which has that elevation, maybe Dehradun in India also. Okay, typical pressure at 1.5 kilometer elevation above the sea level is approximately 850 millibar. The typical surface pressure at an elevation of about 1.5 kilometer above the mean sea level is about 850 millibar. So the surface pressure reported at these hill stations, say Dehradun, Kathmandu, Simla is slightly higher. The Simla hill station is slightly higher. But maybe Kodaikanal is also similar. Maybe about 1 kilometer, 1.5 kilometer. May not be 1.5 kilometer, about 1 kilometer. Kodaikanal or Ooty in south. It will be about 1 kilometer or so above the mean sea level. So the typical surface pressure, depending on the elevation, is about 850 millibar, say at Kathmandu Valley. So the average surface pressure, we assume that, the average surface pressure we assume to be at 1000 millibar approximately. That means we are not considering any mountain, any topography, etc. And h bar is the scale height, average scale height is about 8 kilometer, 8,000 meter. Therefore, the pressure correction in millibar is roughly equal to Z meters divided by 8. Because 8,000 meter. Okay. So in other words, for altitudes up to a few hundred meters above or below the sea level, the pressure decreases by 1 millibar for every 8 meters of vertical ascent. Okay. I mean, these are the simple tips. They are the simple tips you can remember, you can get from these equations. Okay. They are the simple tips you can get from these equations. That means if you rise 8 meters vertically, then you will lose a pressure by 1 millibar approximately. At every 8 meters elevation in vertical, the pressure will decrease by about 1 millibar. Assuming that the average sea level pressure is 1000 millibar and the average scale height is about 8 kilometers. So with this relationship, there are many things which you can get or approximate information we can get. They are very important and also interesting, because sometimes we need to roughly calculate what, say for example, lapse rate. We say that the lapse rate of the atmosphere, the lapse rate, lapse rate, right? You have heard about the lapse rate, isn't it? Lapse rate? Have you heard about the lapse rate?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we talked about the lapse rate in the classes. Is the rate of change of temperature with height. If you go above the ground, you will lose the temperature, right? If you go above the ground, you will lose the temperature. So the rate of change of or loss of temperature per kilometer high is about 6.5 degree centigrade. 6.5 degree centigrade per kilometer. Okay, that is for the typical lapse rate of the atmosphere, but that is not true always, because that will depend upon how much is the relative humidity, how much is the water vapor content in the atmosphere. And if it is a saturated air, the air is saturated, then you have to go follow the moist adiabatic lapse rate. We have talked about that, which is about 4 degrees centigrade per kilometer. And if it is a dry atmosphere, then it is about 10 degrees centigrade per kilometer. So that is the dry adiabatic lapse rate, is the moist adiabatic lapse rate, and normal lapse rate typically is about 6.5 degree centigrade per kilometer. Similarly, if you are rising above the mean sea level by every 8 meter, you will lose a pressure by 1 hectopascal or 1 millibar. Okay, so lots of approximate calculations you can make through these simple physical laws, simple physical understandings. Okay, so these are just the fundamental things we are talking about, and we shall continue to talk about these fundamental things also in subsequent classes. For example, now next we shall discuss about the laws of the thermodynamics. We shall talk about the laws of the thermodynamics. And you have studied the thermodynamics, right, in your BSc, all of you, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, exactly. And basically the laws are same. Laws that you have studied in physics, the laws of thermodynamics, are the same here that you also apply for atmosphere. Okay, but here we will be discussing the same laws in terms of their application towards atmosphere. Okay, so we shall discuss about the first laws of thermodynamics and now its mathematical form in different forms. Now, how it can be written in mathematically in different forms. The first law of thermodynamics. Subsequently, we shall discuss about the entropy, the enthalpy, the Joule's law, etc., etc. All those things you have studied, I know, isn't it? So who can say what is the first law of thermodynamics? Can somebody state what is the first law of thermodynamics? Come on. What is the first law of thermodynamics?
Sir, the first law of thermodynamics states that energy is always conserved. It can neither be created nor be destroyed, but can be changed from one form to another.
Okay, yeah, I mean, yeah, it can be stated in different ways. This is one of the way it can be stated.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Anybody else who can tell it in a different way? Anybody else who can state it in a different way? Sri Lakshmi, can you hear me? Can you state the first?
Sir, we can also state it mathematically, like change in internal energy is equal to heat added minus work done by the system.
Yeah, exactly. And the same equation can also be again converted into many other forms by using this equation of states and so on, hydrostatic laws. Depending upon our requirement, utility, we can convert into different forms. So all of you must go back and read your basic books of physics of BSc level to just refresh these things. Okay, because we shall be referring to all these things in this classes also. Okay, we shall be referring all these things in this classes also. All right, Anjali, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So can you state what is the first law of thermodynamics?
It's delta Q is equal to delta U plus P delta V.
Yeah, again another form, mathematical form. State in terms of the language, words, literally.
State.
Change in internal energy of a system.
The amount of heat is added to a system is equal to the internal energy and work done.
Work done. Yes. Yes. Okay. So all of you, I hope that all of you remember it. Okay. And if you don't remember it, then go back and read your basic books of the physics. Okay. So
sir.
we shall discuss these things again in our next class. So I'll just try to review these things in the next class. It's already almost 1:30 I see now. Okay. So we shall discuss these things tomorrow in our class. Okay. The first law of thermodynamics and subsequently other aspects also. Okay. So today we stop here. Hardly 2 minutes left. It's almost like 1:28. Do you have any points to discuss? Anybody else want to discuss any point?
Sir, I'm present.
Yes,
Sir, I missed my attendance.
Yes,
sir. Sir, मैंने join. Yes, sir. मैंने join किया था around 12:35, but sir network की problem से I was out of meeting.
ठीक है, so I will record your attendance. Anybody else?
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Anybody else was left out? Anyway, I want to ensure that all of you are logged in properly, and so I want to know. I ask you to switch on your video, but I have a log of everybody. Whoever comes to my class at whatever time, everything is logged in. The time of entering the class and time of leaving the class, everything is entered in the logbook. So I know who has joined late, okay, and who has joined on time. Or if somebody is disconnected because of the internet in between, that also is recorded, that he got disconnected or she got disconnected. So I have the record of everything, but yet I have to ensure that you are all physically present. Okay, and that's why I asked you to switch on your videos in the beginning. Okay. So anything else we want to discuss for today? No, it seems nothing to discuss.
No, sir.
Okay, so then I will now stop sharing my PowerPoint for today. Stop sharing. Okay, and then I'll also try to stop recording. Stop recording. Okay.